Oh, let's get our live streamers on first.
They said, hey, live streamers. First off, let's say Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers in the room and all the father figures out there on the live stream, out there in the world. We thank you for everything that you do and the impact that you have on everyone around you. Thank you for your love and your compassion and the strength that you give us every day. This is the air I breathe.
Sing along if you know it. This is the air.
This is the air I breathe.
Your holy presence.
Your holy presence.
Living in me.
Living in me.
This is my daily bread.
This is my daily bread.
You are my daily
This
bread.
is my daily bread.
Your very word.
Your very word.
Living
Living in me. And
I'm living.
I'm living for you.
I'm longing.
I'm longing for you.
Sing that again. I'm living.
I'm living for you. I'm longing for you. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. Yes, you are. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light.
I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in
Thank you, Eric and Monique and the band. Let's give it up for the band again, guys. So, my name is Russ Laguerre. I am one of your assistant ministers in training here at Cityside Spiritual Community. And happy Pride, everybody! Woo! Yeah. And at Cityside, we are all about leading people into a transformational relationship with God. And we are also a social media friendly spiritual community. So if you want to tweet or live stream or Instagram or smoke signal or interpretive dance or whatever you want to do to get out the word for Cityside, bring a friend, please feel free to do that. We just ask that you silence your phones during the service today. And if it is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. And you'll notice on all of our chairs and our tables here that we have these wonderful shiny yes and cards. If you're new, please fill that out so that we can get to know you and we can get you plugged in here at Cityside. There's a lot of really cool stuff that happens outside of our Sunday service, and we want to make sure that you're very well aware of that. And now, of course, this is our time to say hello to our neighbors, and what better question for Pride Month as an icebreaker: what makes you proud? So please go ahead and stand up, say hello to your neighbor, and let's share a little bit of that pride today.
Yeah.
We have a lively group here today. Welcome. Okay, if we'll come together. Beautiful. Okay, if we'll come together, I'm going to do the meditation and then the prayer. We'll find our way into that higher vibration. So if you'll find your comfortable position, nice and erect, chin level, relax your hands into your lap, take a deep breath and close your eyes. Deeply breathe in and hold, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 3, 4, hold, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Let go, and breathe. Fall into your natural rhythm. Let go of the body. Quiet the mind. Just be right here, right now. Right here with the Divine Father. that is always and emanating through you and around you. Breathe in and feel the love. Feel it filling you. Filling your heart space and radiate out. Radiate out to meet other love spaces. Fill the space. Fill the block. Fill the city. Fill the United States with love. Love and compassion. Love and caring for all. Keep breathing. Listen for the Divine Father's message. Always talking to you. Always. And slowly come back into the room, back into your body. Remain relaxed. Recognize the Divine Spirit, the Divine Father that is present right here, right now. The Divine Father that is always and ever with you, holding you, protecting you, loving you. We are one. We are one in the presence of the divine. We are one in humanity, one in this beautiful presence that is the life of God. Oh, and I am bless this community. I bless Cityside, spiritual community. We are growing, we are gathering. We are calling out for those who are on a journey, who are searching to come forward, to come in. We welcome you. And I speak a blessing over Reverend Mark Anthony, Lord. Holding him in love, holding him in a high vibration for his beautiful agreement to be the conduit of God, of the Divine Spirit, of the Divine Father, bringing the message that each of us needs to hear on this beautiful, perfect day. And then I speak a blessing over the musicians and all the helping hands that came here today to make this all happen, this gathering of love, this gathering of compassion. And I am so grateful that we are here today, that we are Cityside, that we are standing in love. And call this all good and release this into the law. And together we say, and so it is.
morning, Cityside. My name is Monique Golding, and the song I'm going to sing today is titled Give Thanks by NDRE, which is just a song of gratitude. So let's all be in gratitude. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks for all things. Give praise, give praise, give praise, give praise, give praise for all that is. There will never ever be another day just like this day, so let's give praise now. Say love, say love, say love, say love, say love for all that is. There will never ever be another day just like this day, so let's give praise now. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Good morning. She is good. That's a crazy good. Thank you, Monique, and thank you, Eric and Greg and Ben. Thank you, Ben. I will never forget you, Ben. Good to be back, and thank you, Reverend Amy, for a kick-ass talk last week. Yeah. Patrick had called me. I was out of town when after, and he was like, oh my God, this Neville guy. And Amy was just like, he was just blown up with it. So that was beautiful. I have a kind of a double focus today. I wanted to, like what came to me this morning in my meditation was to take a moment and sort of connect my journey of pride and specifically to my spiritual path. Because I am, as some people are in the room in different ways, I am that typical story of the little gay boy that was obvious and made fun of and hiding and telling stories and pretending and scared to death of God. Thought for sure I was going to hell. Like that was I was stamped, that was my direction. And I laugh about it, but I want to just kind of bring it to light because you may have your version of this, by the way. I know that's not unique to this, but for a 7 or 8-year-old kid who knows they're different, doesn't have all the understanding of it yet, but really knows that he's different, and to have this experience of this teaching of this God that doesn't accept me for being different, that is trauma. I really have come to believe it that way, and actually it's really spiritual abuse. And it's the best everyone's doing, I got it, and you know, more and more we're waking up to what is spiritual abuse, and I think all of us have suffered spiritual abuse in different ways and are growing up, because inherent in that was manipulation and control and fear, and a young mind doesn't know how to differentiate from that. So the only thing that a young mind can do is take it in and make themselves wrong. And that was certainly my experience. So I did what most people do and just pushed that whole God away, pushed that religion away. I wanted nothing to do with it. It just didn't. I was like, screw you. And honestly, it was sort of like, pick God or pick being gay. Well, pick being gay. That's just sort of like the way I was rolling. So I threw God out. But I also threw the baby out with the bathwater. But even that was perfect. You know, there are times where maybe throwing the baby out with the bathwater gives us the space to explore, gives us the freedom to find something inside of us that is strong. And sure, it's spirit, but if we need to divide ourselves or divide in the thought from God for a stretch of time, that too is part of the perfect journey. I really believe that my greatest portal to returning to God was healing around the part of me that I thought was deemed so unacceptable. That is often, for all of us, the place where we've been wounded, and some people call it the sacred wound. That part, abandoned by a parent, adopted, sexually abused. Some of us have real sacred wounds. And those are the very places where if we will go through that tunnel, back through the story, and find our way to a new home and a new experience of the divine, then you have a connection, a personal connection that requires no Bible, no book, no authority, no church, no religion, no anything. And that is the greatest gift. I really can say I'm grateful, although I'd love for many, many more people not to face the pain of coming into their own, but I'm grateful for my journey. I'm grateful for that something inside of me that said yes to healing, yes to loving myself, and yes to finding that God inside of me that is like, that is the craziest BS that's ever been made up about me. Like, it's impossible. My knowing of God in my life and in my being today just loves that I'm a gay man, loves all the color and the joy and the beauty, loves the beauty of life in all of its magnificence. It's impossible for the God that I know and the God that I'm connected to have any judgment. And from that place, my journey became, as many of you know, going back to the stories and reading them through those eyes. And it's really so much about the eyes and, the filter over the eyes through which you're reading any story. To go back and suddenly see, judge not lest ye be judged, and all these wonderful little things that we know. It's like, oh, there is enormous truth to be found in sacred scripture. There is enormous healing that can be found for everyone, if that's the journey. It doesn't have to be through scripture, but it has to be through whatever you draw to yourself. So to really love myself fully for who I am as I am, to know that it was a perfect incarnation to be a gay man. In fact, I would even go further. I had a very mystical meditation once where I was seeing myself pre-incarnation. And there was this big, beautiful spiritual light, as we all are. Beyond this world of form, you're so much bigger and greater than this. So I was in the sense of that, and I was connected to and perhaps the mind made it up, but it doesn't matter. Spin the story in the right direction. Spin the story toward God. The spirit in me was saying, I'm coming back to heal the world of homophobia. And that I really connected to. That made the whole path a completely different story, a completely different journey. And then I had this go out and change the world thing for a little bit, and I'm still a fan of that for the right reasons and from the right place. But most importantly, and this is for all of us, what I really get is when I heal that inside of me, the world is healed. That's what my work was this lifetime, to take on inside of me the hatred, to take on the fear, to take on the self-rejection, to literally immerse myself into it to where I called it my own. I put my name on it. It put its name on me. And then inside of that container, do the work. Do the spiritual work. And that's what I did. And now I really have this sort of, the word pompous, I don't think it's pompous, but something a little fabulous, I'll say, is that I sort of have this sense that if I'm in the grocery store loving who I am and knowing who I am, I'm a healing presence. And spirit, we're all connected, so there may be someone 3 aisles over who's hating themselves. I don't know their inner world, but I know that we're one. And so everywhere I go, there is a healing taking place. There is something that is changing in the consciousness of the one because of my acceptance and love of who I am. I really believe that's the spiritual path. And I do think every one of us, some of you have a real obvious connection during the month of Pride, as I do, but I really want you to stretch. I really want you to think, where is mine? What did I say yes to? And what is that something that I'm here to heal? And I really do think you don't have to look far. You just need to kind of look back in time and go, where is that unhealed part? Or where is that thing that happened to me that really caused a trauma or a hole or something? You can get where I'm going. In that pocket, there's a gift. And my gift was a personal revelation of God that really, and I've said this many times, the whole world, over 7 billion people, could stand up and scream, it is not okay for you to be gay. I'd be like, wrong. And you know it's wrong because it's not even there's not even I need to fight anything. It's a truth that knows that it knows that it knows. And that's a spiritual awakening. That's what we're all seeking, because all of us are coming out of, in different ways, all of us, not everyone, but many of us, are coming out of forms of deep misunderstandings of this thing called God. Some fear, some whatever, some I hope I'm not left out. Whatever it is, those are the places that we're coming to have a healing around. And the healing happens in you, in your mind, in your heart, and in your emotional body, and obviously in your spirit, when you get that personal connection that, I want to say, transcends the wound. It heals the wound. The wound, it doesn't remain a wound, but it remains something inside of you that becomes beautiful. I'm kind of thinking of Like the body, if you slice your arm, it heals and the scab comes and the scab goes away. And sometimes you have that scar. And it's just may be there for a lifetime on the body. It's just become part of who you are. And that can happen too with your story. It's part of who you are, but it doesn't require the attention that it once needed. It doesn't take away from your joy and your being in the world. And in fact, when anything around you is happening that resonates with that in you, again, you become the gift. And you begin to pass on what you've acquired. Doesn't that sound good? Yes. So be proud this month for your journey. Be proud for your path and how God has been guiding you. And look for that. Look, how's God guiding me? Like, look at your life and see how there are miracles along your path. And I often say at this time of year, and I love to say this to you beautiful allies who are here, you are the blessing, I think. And please shine your light brightly this month. Don't assume anything. Like, tell people you're proud to be an ally. Tell a gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual person in your world that you really love and honor their path. Like, do a little extra this month to add to this wonderful wave and this wonderful upliftment. Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, now on to number 2 of my talk, which I actually got from April. So I honor her for this. She brought this to me, and I read this before, but she brought this prayer, the Lord's Prayer, in Aramaic. And it's so mind-blowing. So I want to we're going to go through it line by line to just give you a new take on it. And I have, back on that back shelf, I made copies of the Aramaic Lord's Prayer, if you'd like to take one. I didn't pass them out. That's okay, we don't need to pass them out. But if you want to grab one, if it inspires you to take one, they're right there on the back sheet. So the first line, we know it as Our Father who art in heaven. The line in Aramaic is, O birther, Father, Mother of the cosmos. O birther, creator of life. Creator that is always creating. Birther that is always birthing. A constant experience of life begetting life. Father, mother, masculine, feminine, yin and yang. The balance of the creative force, thinking, feeling nature. That which makes an experience of wholeness that is required for birth to take place. In the physical world, that's obvious. To have a baby, we need the masculine energy and the feminine energy. To have an idea come into fruition, to birth an idea, we need the thinking faculty and the emotional faculty to come together to give birth to a divine idea. We are both. We are the masculine and the feminine. And I believe that there's a great balancing wanting to experience in all of humanity with the Me Too movement, such a lovely power that is coming up for women who are saying, this is unacceptable to treat women this way, but it's unacceptable to treat the feminine nature of being with less respect. This is God in its wholeness, the mother and the father in union. Father, mother of the cosmos. I should have looked up the word cosmos, but it's really big. It's really big. Focus your light within us and make it useful. Focus the power of light, the healing power, the creative power, the purpose of your being. Focus that in a way so that I'm not being pulled in all these different directions. Give me focus and make the light that I am useful as a part of this greater something of which we are. Make me matter in the way that I'm meant to matter, first for me and my experience of the light, and secondly, so that all of humanity, that is one power, can have that experience. You are a vital, necessary part of God. I mean, in all of the cosmos, we're so tiny you can't even draw a dot, a speck on a piece of paper. And yet, at the same time, the paradox of that is that nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. Everything is valued and beautiful. And for many of us in the Western world and the way we were brought up, we need to rise up into the acceptance of your worth and your value. And this is a commandment. Focus your light within me and use it. Use it. Create your reign of unity now through our fiery hearts and our willing hands. Now let's take that inside first. Create the reign of unity in me. A divided house serves no purpose. It's the other one is building the house on sand, right? Inside of me, we say, create your reign of unity now. Bring all of the parts of me into the center, connect the dots, put the puzzle pieces together. Give me the experience of wholeness. I must know unity inside of me. And the truth of the matter is, we walk around pretty fragmented, don't we? The thinking takes hold of us and we push this part out. Someone says something that triggers this part, and this part reminds me of my mom, so I don't want to look at that, and this all day long. These parts are just fragmented. And in our fragmented self, it becomes very, very hard. It becomes very hard. And so this command here, create your reign of unity now. Breathe that in. My mind, my heart, my emotional body, and all of me in oneness. No judgment, no separation. All of it together. And from there, through our firing hearts and willing hands, help us love beyond our ideals and sprout acts of compassion for all creatures. Through our fiery hearts and willing hands, help us love beyond our ideals. I love the image of firing heart and willing hands. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, you could wake up in the morning, that's your prayer. Holy Spirit, fire up my heart and use my hands. Like, that's a beautiful prayer. That's a prayer of surrender in a way, isn't it? Yeah. Like, activate the passion, activate that flame inside of me, the Sacred Heart awakened, and use these hands. And combined, help us love beyond our ideals. That is beautiful. Wherever you are, and you, many of you here are so expansive in your loving. You're so expansive. And yet we all have that edge, don't we? We all have that ceiling where it's like, I can love all of this, but no. That's wrong. We all have our unacceptables, right? And sometimes the unacceptable is a person who just cuts you off on the street, right? Sometimes the unacceptable is, well, for me, because I am a gay man, is what someone's wearing. Like, I can't help it. Like, it's just, really? I'm working on it. Really what it's saying is, and I've talked about this before, I live on planet Mark, and you live on your planet. And that has lots of rules. And this is how life should be. And everyone didn't get your rule book, as you know. And so often they live by the rules on their planet, which don't match yours. So whatever's been made up inside of you, whatever rules exist on your planet, however you think life should go, can you ask love to extend you beyond that? To create a bigger space of love in you and for the other. And sprout acts of compassion. And sprout acts of compassion for all creatures. Well, that's just a lovely, clear sentence. It's really an invitation, one day at a time. Let compassion lead. Let compassion lead me to where it's meant to be useful. Animate the earth within us, then from the wisdom underneath supporting all. Animate the earth within us. Animate the experience of life within me. Within me. We then feel the wisdom underneath supporting all. So activated in your experience of this dimension of being, your physical body, all the things of this world, connect it and unify it with the greater something. Feel that connection. You're not animate this life that you're in, this three-dimensional being, but don't let it separate you. Don't walk around mine, yours. This is my side of the fence, that's your side of the fence. Be in this form, animated, and upon the terrain, the platform, whatever, of oneness. This is the magic. That's the mystical way to be here. That's the way to be in the world, but not of the world. To be animated, to be a part of it. I'm in the world, but I'm aware of the interconnectedness. I'm aware of what's causing this all to be animated. That's what I'm connected to. I love this. Untangle the knots within so that we can mend our hearts' simple ties to each other. Now, in the Lord's Prayer, that's the forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, or forgive whatever that little forgiveness passage is. But I love, it doesn't say forgiveness, it just says untangle the knots within so that we can mend our hearts' simple ties to each other. In spirit, when you really get into the connection of it, it is so simple. And it's so pure, and there's very little story. Imagine coming from your heart to other hearts, just cords of love that connect you everywhere you go. And along those cords, as you get to know someone, or if they're in your family, or if you end up marrying them or being their lover for a while, little knots happen along the cords, right? And we all know initial love is fantastic because there's no knots in the cord. It's just open, and no one's ever felt this before, and all that, beautifulness of the infatuation stage. And, stick around for a couple days, and a couple years, a couple lifetimes, and that cord can become knotted. And at those knotted points, the flow of connection stops. So this alone tells me that in our relationships, my work is not to try to figure out how to make that other person change. Has anyone ever yelled for someone else to be different? Okay, yes. Monique has. Right. We've all experienced that, screaming for them to change. Never works. Never works. Our better use of our time is to look at our own connector, that beautiful cord, and where are my knots? And can I pray to just have them untangled so the simple connection can return? And those are the beautiful moments. And it looks like we're remembering who they are. We have a reprieve from our judgments and our pain bodies that we projected upon them. But what we've really done is allowed ourselves to return to our own flow. And we've taken our own sense of connection and power and used it to untangle ourselves. And that's where the magic is. Again, untangle the knots within. So I do wish this prayer said, untangle the knots in everybody else so that I can be happy. If I were God, I would have given you that one. But that's kind of how we do it, isn't it? God, untangle them so I can be happy. This says, untangle the knots within so that we can mend our hearts' simple ties to each other. And there's a we in there. So we can mend. The Course in Miracles talks about the idea that we are our brothers and sisters' salvation. We do this together. They are our salvation. Anytime in a relationship, which is the experience of God, connection to another, when that knotted experience is untangled and returned to love, everybody receives the gift. We do it together in this plane of existence. So that's what we do. I was last week I was giving a forgiveness workshop, which I often do, and I often get this idea, this question in this kind of version, and this woman was unapologetic about it. She was very clear. She said, so if I forgive, that doesn't mean that they're off the hook, right? And I was like, take a breath. Yes, that's exactly what it means. You don't get freedom by yourself. It becomes the gift we give. And it becomes the gift they need. I want to go a step further because this was quite dramatic. I've never had this happen. I do this exercise. Some of you have done this with me before, where I do a forgiveness exercise where I have someone come up to the room and stand here who has someone that they haven't forgiven. And they hold, I ask them for 5 things that they are holding against them. And someone comes up and faces them and plays that person. And they list their 5 things, and the person backs up further and further, and I have people build around them, building a wall of unforgiveness. It's a real good visual to show what unforgiveness looks like. So I do this, and this guy comes up, and he says, my son-in-law. And so I had someone in the group play his son-in-law, and I said, okay, what's the first thing that you need to forgive him for? And he says, he killed my daughter. Yeah. I was like, and commercial break now. No. I was so on the flow. There's no greater small God. I was like, got it, good. So we do that. The second one, he sexually abused my grandchildren. Like, it was so, I've never had that intense. And this man stood there. And this other guy playing the role, just tears were going down his eyes. He's backing up, and we built the wall around him to show how blocked off he was. And he doesn't have any connection to his grandchildren. And the whole, it all came up. And then we did the other process where he does a forgiveness statement. And it falls away, and the person was closer and closer and closer. And this man pretty much fell to his knees in tears at the end with so much gratitude. He knew in his mind, in his world, that his daughter had caused that. He knew that his son-in-law needed this, because that soul was so lost and so far from knowing their own experience of love. It was profound. And he knew, which was beautiful about it, he knew that his freedom was his son-in-law's freedom. That's where his mind was changed. He saw how broken and what had happened to this son-in-law to bring him to this point. You know what I mean? And then that generation before, and that these pains go through generations. And that moment changed his family's story. And I really believe when we do things like that, forgiveness, freedom ripples back in time. It ripples forward in time. It goes up and down. It doesn't just change the now. It changes all experience. It's more than the human mind can understand. But it is so that we can mend our hearts. So the next one, don't let surface things delude us, but free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. Well, that line alone is for the Western world. Don't get pulled in 1,000 directions. Stop reading the billboards. Stop being pulled. If we get ourselves too pulled all over the place with this and that and this and that, and we all have the I'm too busy-itis problem, right? We all have that disease of being pulled in so many directions, and then we know people who are paying other people thousands of dollars to find their purpose because they're so far from it and so pulled in so many different directions. I actually have a friend, and he's a very, very wealthy man. He paid someone $30,000 to help him find his purpose. I thought, wow, that's something. I mean, he has the resources, so for him, it was doable. But I just thought, that's fascinating. Basically, this guy is helping people slice through all of the ways they have been deluded by the surface things of the world, helping him get back to himself. The fact that, but free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. The fact that in this prayer, it speaks about our true purpose. It really elevates your purpose to a sacred place. We're now talking about what you're here for, your spiritual reason for being incarnated. Connect me to that. And please keep me from the distractions. Keep me from constantly going in 10 other directions. And then at the end of the day, feeling empty and alone, and I don't know what I'm here to do. I don't know. I don't know if those are your words and if those are your familiar words, what they're really saying to you is you're really just being diluted and pulled out into all those different directions. And the work is to say, even if just this, I know that there's a purpose here in me. I know it. I know. What do you know? You know that. I know that there's a reason for my being here. That alone is going to turn your attention away from the I don't know craziness into, okay, there's something here. I know it. And you're going to start to be able to move towards that. And finally, out of you, the astonishing fire, returning light and sound to the cosmos. Amen. I don't know how to interpret that. I just think it's really awesome. Isn't that an amazing, again, thank you, April. Isn't that quite a different interpretation of the Lord's Prayer that you might have said as a child if you were raised Catholic like I was? Such a mystical, powerful expression of it. And this is the challenge that has happened in our Western world from centuries and centuries and centuries ago, is the translation from Aramaic to Greek, or whichever way it came through to the English language. I'm not great at that understanding, but the journey from Aramaic to where it is now, so many breakdowns and so many misunderstandings. And Aramaic words, one word is like an experience. It's not just this. And here in our Western world, it means this, it doesn't mean that. You know what I mean? We really slice and divide, and we use our words to do that. But in the Aramaic language, you use your words with multiple meanings to create a holistic experience of it. And that's what I believe the true experience of this prayer is. Some man, this guy's name is Neil Douglas Klotz. There's some people as I was kind of just Googling, exploring, there's some people that are really sort of attacking him, like, this isn't the exact Aramaic. Like, it's really, I mean, God help us all in the Western world. You know, it's just like, I was like, you know, I don't know if he got a word wrong in this, but there's so much that feels freeing. There's so much that feels beautiful, yes? And that's what's meaningful to me. So let's go to the next slide. I hope you can read it. We're going to move into prayer. Can you read that? We're actually say it together. But let's begin. I'd love some music under that, if that's okay, Greg. Take a breath, and first of all, take your attention off the physical world for a moment. Turn within. Breathe. And just imagine all images floating away. Images of others, images of what you've got to do next, images of upsets or stories you've made up about other people, about yourself. Just let them float away. Open up. Land right in the center of your heart. Feel yourself expand. Open your eyes. Let's say this together. O birther, father, mother of the cosmos, focus your life within us. Make it useful. Create your reign of unity now. Through our fiery hearts and willing hands, help us love beyond our ideals and sprout acts of compassion for all creatures. Animate the earth within us. We then feel the wisdom underneath, supporting all. Untangle the knots within, so that we can mend our hearts' simple ties to each other. Don't let superficial things delude us, but free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. Out of you, the astonishing fire, returning light and sound to the cosmos. Amen. Breathe. Turn back in. For the new wisdom and the new awareness. For the returning to our oneness and our connections. We're so grateful. For the remembering that we are here on purpose and that our love makes a difference. That our compassion and actions of word, of thought, of deed are a healing presence unto the world. Thank you, sweet Spirit. One more time, sing it with your heart. Grateful, 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 grateful. Thank you, sweet Spirit. Thank you, sweet Spirit. Amen and amen.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was amazing. And in that atmosphere of gratitude, now is our time of offering here at Cityside. Would you please join me in speaking our affirmation together? Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And then we're going to have the basket pass around here. Live streamers, we're so grateful for your gifts. You can text to give if you don't have cash, or if you're on the live stream, 312-757-8111. Or you can give online at cityside.me/donate. You guys, we are so grateful for your gifts. And just know that not only does our community benefit, but you too also benefit by being in that divine flow. So thank you so much for all that you have to give to us. Theme music for our giving. That's just so cool. So thank you again so much for all that you have to give to us. All right, so let's jump into some announcements. Again, if it's your first time here, welcome, and please fill out that yes and card that I mentioned earlier today. We'd love to get to know you. And we've got a community potluck, and guess what? I'm actually the guy who's hosting it. Yay! So that is going to be happening. It's actually, it's in the Avondale area, but anyway, I can give you the address now. But really, what we're going to be doing at this meeting is we really want a vision on what Cityside's highest purpose is. We know that as a community that we are that much more powerful when we're really super clear on who we are here to be in the world. So please come and join us, bring a dish to share. If y'all need to use a grill, I got a grill that you can use. I got a kitchen, so don't feel like you have to cook beforehand. You're welcome to come and hang out ahead of time too. And that is going to be at 3313 North Sacramento Avenue. That's where my house is. Also know that there's plenty of street parking, but I also own the parking lot next to my house. So yeah, how cool is that? So feel free to park there as well. We want to make sure that it's really easy for you to be there because we want to hear your voice. And I think you can, also please RSVP at cityside.me so that we know not only what dish that you're bringing, but also that you're going to be there. All right, and what else do we got? Oh, we've got Holy, Holy Way, so I'm all done.
All right, thank you for being here today. Thank you, live streamers, for being here with us. Next week is the Pride Parade, so please consider coming here first if you're going to the parade afterward. That's really fun. And again, later on, have a potluck over at Russ's home. Let's stand together and bring our service to a close. Give thanks to His beloved community that's helping us reconnect with the Spirit of God within ourselves and within each other. We take a moment to send a prayer out into the world, to all the people who have been wounded or traumatized by religion, by a false idea about God, by being told that they're separate from the love of the one life. We send a prayer to them. And we know that greater than any story, greater than any persecution, greater than any fear that they're living in is this cosmic mother, father, birther of perfect love that we are, that they are, and always will be. So we extend this all around in a special prayer to parts of the world where being LGBT is actually so unacceptable that people are being murdered, sacrificed, wherever there is still such a darkness around this beautiful freedom. We say to them, we are here, we love you, we are one with you, and we wave our pride flag in your name. Grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer. We let it be, and so it is.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a
you, everybody.
God bless you.
Have a beautiful day, everybody. Mingle, get some hugs. Thank you.